Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening to our beloved supervisor, Madam Akmal Kamaruddin, line of panels, and not forgetting my research partner. In today's session, we would like to present about our final year project entitled Ethic Practice Among UiTM Seremban Students During Online Distance Learning. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Researcher 1, Muhammad Syahmi bin Muhammad Ghazali, and my partner is the second researcher, Nur Fatin Umairah binti Saharom. Let's proceed to the next slide. Allow me to start with our research background. The overview of the study is the ethic used in online class is extremely significant and is likely to affect students' attendance, performance, and productivity in the classroom, as well as it have a negative impact on lecturers and also students. Online distance learning, ODL, also referred to as online distance education, according to D. Randy Garrison, 1987, or e-learning, according to Case et al. 2017, blended learning by Dishak and Goman in 2015, interactive learning and virtual learning. This is a form of education in which lecturers and students are physically separated but can still interact directly through a variety of online applications. This study goal was to look to a particular aspects of ethic practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. This is the beginning of our problem statement. According to UNESCO, the COVID-19 outbreak has disrupted the learning process for more than 1 billion kids in 129 countries worldwide. And according to Higher Education Ministry in 2020, they announced that all teaching and learning programs in universities should be conducted through online platforms starting from 20 March 2020. And the ethical dilemma in the online world was examined by Anderson and Simpson, who also noted how difficult it is to resolve because online discourses have the potential to overcome physical and cultural barriers. Next. The basis that become our research question is to prove what is the relationship between factors such as learning environment, mental health measures, relationship between self-motivation, students' behavior, facilities availability, learning modules, and the last is a time flexibility itself. Same as well to our RO, which is we want to indicate whether the relationship between these 7 factors mentioned previously indicates how the ethic practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The significance of the research conducted for researcher is helps the researcher since the findings may inspire to adopt a new learning or environment as a way to improve and focus while learning online and be able to gain knowledge in finding articles related to it widely. And for UiTM students, this result of this research can be used to further studies and discussion among the students on the importance of ethic practices during online distance learning. And for the community, beneficial to the HEP and HEA as they will receive data that explains majorly on the variables effect towards ethic practices.
My name is Nur Fatin Umairah and I will explain on the chapter 2, which is on the literature review. This chapter focuses on literature review on the concept of factors influencing the etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning, as it is increasingly crucial because of implementation of online learning by the Ministry of Higher Education MOHE due to the inevitable contagion of the COVID-19 pandemic that hit the rest of the world. The explanation of etiquette practice is followed by a discussion of the ideas supporting its conception. In addition to discussing how etiquette practice is measured, this chapter also looks at the elements that influence students' use of manners. As a result, the study also determines how etiquette practice affects student performance and identifies the relationship between the factors. Next, we will move to the overview of the literature review. Etiquette is the collection of rules that outline how to behave in a polite and suitable manner. As a result, etiquette also defines social or official behavior or procedures that are required by morality or prescribed by authority. A learning environment may signify a number of different things depending on how it is utilized. It is used in many different contexts, such as a learning task marker and individual was made possible by computer and internet technologies. Mental health is defined by the World Health Organization (WHO) as a state of well-being in which an individual recognizes his or her own potential, can cope with typical life pressures, can work successfully, and can contribute to his or her community. Online learning will have an influence on mental, physical, emotional, and social health if education or learning through computer display takes too long. According to Azizi and Jafar Siddiq 2006, they stated that the motivation is considered as an element that allows students to actively engage in teaching and learning process. Self-motivation is important in terms of how students motivate, manage and focus themselves during online distance learning. Next is the student's behavior. Students' behavior can be defined as something was done, a means to react to the surroundings, on what you do, how you interact or behave, and how you react to the environment are all examples of behavior. Facilities can be defined as an activity, operation or course of conduct that is simple to execute, easy to accomplish, ready to comply with, and something that makes an action, operation or course of conduct simpler. The definition of a learning module, according to Winkle 2009, is a teaching learning study program. Learning modules are elements that may be learned independently, individually or directly by students. And lastly, the flexible learning. Flexible learning is centered on the requirements of the learner, and educational services should provide students to the freedom to select on what, when, how and where they study according to Higher Education Academy 2015. This is the conceptual framework of this research. The dependent variable is the etiquette practice, meanwhile the independent variable is the learning environment, mental health measures, self-motivation, students' behavior, facilities availability, learning module use, and time flexibility. Next is the hypothesis for this research, which is HO1. There is no relationship between learning environment and etiquette practice. HA1. There is relationship between learning environment and etiquette practice. HO2, there is no relationship between mental health measures and etiquette practice. HA2, there is a relationship between mental health measures and etiquette practice. HO3, there is no relationship between self-motivation and etiquette practice. HA3, there is a relationship between self-motivation and etiquette practice. HO4, there is no relationship between students' behavior and etiquette practice. HA4, there is a relationship between students' behavior and etiquette practice. HO5, there is no relationship between facilities availability and etiquette practice. HA5, there is a relationship between facilities availability and etiquette practice. HO6, there is no relationship between learning modules and etiquette practice. HA6, there is a relationship between learning modules used and etiquette practice. And lastly, HO7, there is no relationship between time flexibility and etiquette practice. HA7, there is a relationship between time flexibility and etiquette practice.
Let's proceed with the research method used in conducting this project. Let's start with the research design. We are using cross-sectional method. Our unit of analysis is all students from FSPPP, FSKM, and FSR in UiTM campus Seremban. Our sample size is 250 students from 3 faculties in UiTM campus Seremban. Our sampling technique is a convenient sampling. Our measurement is Likert scale, and our data collection consists of sections. We start with section A is a demographic profile, section B ethic practice, section C is learning environment, section D is mental health measures, section E self-motivation, section F students behavior, section G facilities availability, section H learning modules use, and section I time flexibility. And data analysis is consists of pilot study, test of normality, reliability analysis, Pearson correlation, and multiple regression.
Next, we will move to the findings of this research. The demographic profile shows that male respondents were 103 equal to 40.2% and female respondents were 153 equal to 59.8%. For the age from 21 to 23 years old is the highest, which is 172 respondents equal to 67.2%. The final year got 131 students equal to 51.2%, and non-final year have 125 students, which is equal to 48.8%. Faculty from FSPPP contribute the highest number, which is 152 students, equal to 59.4%. The degree students contribute 73.8%, which is equal to 189 students, and diploma contribute 26.2%, equal to 67 students. And lastly, the program. The highest percentage is 27.3%, equal to 70 students, which is from the AM228 program, and the list is from the CS241, which is 3.9%, equal to 10 students. Next is the main findings for this research. Objective 1 is to indicate the relationship between learning environment and etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The results show that R equal to 0.640, P equal to 0.001, therefore HA1 accepted and HO1 rejected. Next, objective 2 is to show the relationship between mental health measures and etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The results show that R equal to 0.537, P equal to 0.001, therefore HA2 accepted and HO2 rejected. Objective 3 is to study the relationship between self-motivation and etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The results show that R equal to 0.532, P equal to 0.001, therefore HA3 accepted and HO3 rejected. Next is the objective 4 is to investigate the relationship between students' behavior and etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The results show that R equal to 0.503, P equal to 0.001, therefore HA4 accepted and HO4 rejected. Objective 5 is to classify the relationship between facilities availability and etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The results show that R equal to 0.531, P equal to 0.001, therefore HA5 accepted and HO5 rejected. Objective 6 is to examine the relationship between learning module use and etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The results show that R equal to 0.619, P equal to 0.001, therefore HA6 accepted and HO6 rejected. And lastly, objective 7 is to identify the relationship between time flexibility and etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The results show that R equal to 0.510, P equal to 0.001, therefore HA7 accepted and HO7 rejected. In this study, all the objective is tested by the Pearson correlation analysis. The result of this study indicate that learning environment, mental health measure, self-motivation, students' behavior, facilities availability, learning module use, and time flexibility have played a significant relationship in influencing the etiquette practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. The result of multiple regression show that learning environment is the most significant predictor and has the most impact towards etiquette practice, with the result of adjusted R-square is 0.540 equal to 54%, P equal to 0.001, beta is 0.346 and P equal to 0.001.
The results of this study indicate that learning environment, mental health measures, self-motivation, students' behavior, facilities availability, learning modules use, and time flexibility have played a significant relationship in influencing the ethic practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. Based on the research findings, the most influential factors on ethic practice among UiTM Seremban students is the learning environment. Next, let's start with the research recommendation. We have lined up a fourth recommendation, which the first one is to clarify benchmark. The second recommendation is to build an active engagement and motivation. And the third recommendation is by the role of the government. And the fourth recommendation is by the student readiness for online learning. And we look on research limitations and future suggestion. Uh, it is about a limited sample size. The second one is a weaknesses of quantitative study, and the third limitations are cross-sectional survey. In conclusion, this research has successfully met its proposed research objective, which to examine factors that influence the ethic practice among UiTM Seremban students during online distance learning. Learning environment, mental health measures, self-motivation, student behavior, facilities ability, learning modules use, and time flexibility. And among these 7 independent variables, it shows that all 7 are significant to be related with the factors that influence ethic practice.